All right, we are live. I'm going to be sewing non-stop today. I have gotten about 7 or 8, pillow covers to make different sizes. I've got, 40 by 40 centimeters, 50 by 50 centimeters, 40 by 60 centimeters. And I felt like, okay, I haven't gone live on this channel for a very, very long time. Why not just go live? Why actually sewing? So I'm going to be like locked in on the job. If you have any questions, just please keep it in the comment section. I'm definitely going to take a look at it occasionally. Or if not, I'm just going to take a look when this stream is ended and I can actually go ahead and reply you because I'm going to be posting this live session on my channel. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe bell, or hit the subscribe icon, click on the notification bell, and it's so good to have you around. See, I sew pillow covers and I sell them on platforms like eBay, on TikTok. TikTok is kind of recent, but then if you have any questions that have gotten to do with pillow covers, how you can learn to sell, to sew and sell them, feel free to reach out to me. I will be glad to answer you. So enjoy the stream. And like I said, occasionally I will be taking a look at who is available. I'm just saying a very big shout out here for my workshop. Hope you guys are having a very, very beautiful day. It's sunny here and I can just ask for more. So I have titled this stream Sewing Nonstop because it's just basically me sewing, and the other stream I'm actually thinking of, doing anytime soon is a, live Q&A session. I'm going to actually try to plan time to do that. Yeah, I was talking about, doing a live Q&A session because, of course, I obviously know that a lot of people have questions to ask, questions that borders on selling the stuffs that you have made with your hands. Sometimes it's kind of bad that some of us have learned to sew, but for one reason or the other, we do not know what to do with the very beautiful skill that we have. Of course, if you do not plan to make money, I'm not talking to you, but I understand that there are people that want to make money with this tailoring skill that they've learned. And one way, and the funny thing is that you see a lot of people doing this thing. It looks so effortless, like so easy. But whenever you want to try to do it yourself, there are so many questions that you have. Where do you start? What do you sell? Because the truth is, not every item is actually so convenient to sew and sell, but there are some little items, pillow covers, tablecloths. These are stuffs that you can easily set up and offer somewhere on a responsible platform, say eBay, say TikTok. Like I said, I just started selling on TikTok recently. It took me quite a long time to learn all the processes, but yeah, this is a place that you can actually sell these things because every day people are scrolling on these platforms. There's Instagram. People are scrolling, looking for something to buy, looking for what's trendy. If you know how to sew pillow covers, for example, or some other stuff, it could be kitchen tablecloth, it could be any other thing, curtains, beddings, and you kind of figure out a way to know what's trendy. Then you can just make your business around that particular trending item. In this way, it doesn't disturb you from having your full-time job or your part-time job, as the case may be. But then you can set up the offer somewhere, do all what you have to do such that if people go ahead, order your stuff, then you can actually go ahead to fulfill it. One of the days where you need to actually go to a place like China to buy stuff. People have a lot of I don't want to call it hate, but people just have a kind of a bias towards items that are low quality items coming from certain places. So then if you have access to very good quality stuff like this I have here, it's 100% cotton. If you have access to stuff like this, you can actually turn them into pillow covers, do a little bit of marketing. And these days, marketing has actually become very easy to do. Long time ago, if you needed to make an ad, you needed to go to some TV house or some radio station to tell them that you want to run an ad for your business. But right now, with just your phone and a platform like, say, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you can actually run unlimited ads without paying even the smallest amount. You don't need to pay anything. I don't know how many people are watching us, but I think I see one person online. Good to see you around. My laptop is kind of far away, but I was just talking about the fact that somebody went to my shop and bought 16 pieces of this pillow cover, different sizes. But in this color, forest green, the buyer actually bought 7 pieces, also different sizes. And I felt like this is a good time to just try out the live function here on YouTube. One of them is done. Try out the live function here on YouTube and just, kind of discuss with you guys generally, because I've not really been on this channel for a long time. And sometimes it's so hard to find time in between the many activities that we have to do. And it's so good there's something like a live function, because with this, you can actually, work. Do not take off your hand from work, but then you still can interact with your audience, because you guys are the reason why we are doing this. You're the reason why we are making these videos. Truth be said, I don't want to believe there's any content creator that is going to say now that video making is an easy process. It's not easy, especially when you have a lot of things, struggling for your time. Some of us have families. Some of us have kids. Some of us have a full-time job. Some of us have different things that we would have loved to do with our time, But then sometimes we still have to make these videos, because we have found that, look, there are people on the other side in these communities that just want to know what we do to make money. Some of them have burning desires to also, for example, sew to sell. Some of us have desires to just know what's happening in the market. Some of us want to hear our opinions for certain machines. I use a Yuki machine, in case you are wondering. This is a Yuki DDL, I think, I don't know, 8,500. I've forgotten, but I need to check that. Some of us want to hear the reviews of our machine, because you are out there, you want to buy something, you are not so sure. You want to watch. This is the reason why content creators, we are rendering a very, very important service. If I have a scissors, for example, these scissors have served me very well. The next thing I want to do is to come here, review it, and just make somebody benefit from the fact that I have experienced these scissors firsthand. So most times I know this, that it's not just about me, it's not about the views. As a matter of fact, this channel has not been getting so many views for a long time. So it's one of the reasons why it was kind of so discouraging to even make content. But when I thought of it, that look, it's not about the views. First, it's about me doing what I love to do. And it's about me also just, building an audience here, a group of people that we can actually share our thoughts together. Not necessarily talking all day long, but occasionally when I have an opportunity like this, I see there's somebody else online. I see in total we have 2 people online. I want to say a very big shout out to you guys. I am happy to have you guys around, So this is what it is. I'm making these pillow covers now, and pillow covers is finally what I realized, works perfectly with my schedule. Of course, I can do a lot of stuff. I can sew, make clothes, women clothes, but sometimes there are certain items that you cannot actually sew to sell. Yes, you can actually try it. As a matter of fact, I have tried sewing men's shirts to sell, but it wasn't a convenient process because there is just no standardized measurement. For me, XL could mean XL for somebody else. So what I finally realized was that a lot of people were just, buying I changed my needle today, and each time you change your needle, first time, sometimes the machine has a way of acting up, Twice my machine has cut the thread, but I don't know. I hope everything just stays like this right now, but it's not a good thing when the machine is acting up, all right? Yes, so I did try with men's clothing. It wasn't kind of easy because the idea I had was not just to wait for the customers that will come in through the door, but to be able to put my stuff online and for people to order it. And I realized that pillow covers was just the best fit for this kind of business model, and it's so convenient to sew. Even if you do not have any proud knowledge, if you are actually willing to learn something, this is something I found out from my wife, because my wife didn't really know how to sew at all. And one day, before I came from where I went to, she made a pillow cover herself. It wasn't the most perfect pillow cover, but you could get the idea that she was able to figure it out because there are not so many stitches you have to go through. And the little stitches that you have to make, they are pretty much straight stitches, nothing complicated, So if you are actually willing to learn it, this is something that you can actually, do. And I've also said to you guys, if you really want to learn, I've gotten the materials that will make you get a hands-on experience on how to sew pillow covers in a very, very short time. All right. This is the second one. It is moving, guys. It's exactly what I imagined, that I will be here talking to you guys and also, making my work move on. All right. I'm so happy that everything so far has been working perfectly. And before I started this stream, there was a little bit of glitch here and there. Microphone. Right now, I didn't even check if the mic is working, but I want to imagine, because I have my mic here, it's on, and the other mic is on the camera. Hopefully, it is actually going, the way everything should. And guys, write me in the comment section. Perhaps if you cannot hear me, let me know about it, and I can, try to stop the stream just to make sure that everything is fixed. This zip I have right here is a continuous zip. Normally when I started sewing, I was using the normal zip that had a stopper at the end, but then I realized that, first of all, this is cheaper for me, and then if I want to sew a lot of projects, it's just much convenience for me to use this. You don't necessarily have to use this, depend on what you can actually lay your hands on, but from my own processes, this is just exactly what works for me. And when you start this business, you will quickly realize that everybody's process is different. Sometimes your process has to be tied with how much time you have. if you have a lot of time to do certain things, perhaps you do not have to use my process, but I have found my process to work very well. And with the limited time I have, this is something that just works perfectly. All right. So far, so good. This is the 50 by 50 centimeter pillow cover. I have already made two 40 by 40 centimeter, and the project is still going. At this rate, I don't think that I shouldn't be here for up to an hour. I actually did set out to finish these 7 pillow covers in less than an hour, which is about 40 minutes or so. But if I have already done 3, because this is the 3rd one right now, and in about 3 minutes, this one should actually be done. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to do this business, man, the turnaround time for your pillow covers should be as low as possible. Of course, there are industrial sewing machines that can do this very quickly, but the idea of this business is you do not have a lot of capital to invest. Of course, as you grow bigger in this business, you can decide to knock yourself out, get a lot of industrial machines that will make your processes kind of easier. But if you are just somebody that's starting out, first of all, I will also not recommend you to start out with buying heavy duty machines. Use what you have. This is the best way to test the waters. Do not invest 10 or 15,000 euros or dollars, depending on where you live, and then realize that, man, this is not something for you, or you are not ready to be committed to the business. So the best thing you want to do is to start small, get a few fabrics here and there. And this is exactly what I plan to teach. I don't have a course yet, but ultimately the idea is that I'm going to be able to develop a kind of cheat code, kind of a handout, detailing step by step what you need to do, telling you the mistakes I made while trying to set up this business many years ago, and give you some realistic expectation if you start this business. We are in a time and age where people try to tell you that you can actually make 10,000 euros online, 20,000 euros online, but every business has a realistic expectation. Tailoring, sewing, if you want to sew pillow covers for profit, I won't be able to tell you what you are expected to make when you sew bridal dress or kids' clothes. But when it comes to pillow covers, that is my area of specialization, and I'll be able to tell you what the realistic expectations are, the calculations that you need to make depending on the kind of materials that you have, depending on the kind of fabric that you can lay your hands on. I'll be able to tell you what is the best way to go about it, that you will not make losses, or that you will get the maximum profit possible. Packaging, finishing, these are the things that I plan to teach. But once again, time is always a big challenge. Thank you all for stopping by. If you are there, I see you. But my laptop is kind of far away. I really cannot take a look at the chat right now. But like I said, please write me in the comment section. This is sewing non-stop, and we are still moving on. This is the 4th pillow cover that I am making right now. I'm not going at full speed mode. Yes, I could be faster than this, but the idea is not to be super fast. The idea is to do a neat job, because I do not want my customers to receive these pillow covers and begin to complain. Why is this like this? Why is this like that? No, I want them to get it, and then when they receive it and everything seems to be good, my joy is that they are able to come back in the nearest future, to buy more stuff from me, or they are able to refer me to their friends, to their family members, to say, look, this was what I bought online from a shop, And the pillow covers, not only that the cotton fabrics are in the best condition, they are very clean, very soft, good finishing. The pillow itself is very, very good quality. The zippers, everything. This is the idea. The idea is not just for you to, make a sale, quickly finish the pillow cover and then junk it up into some packaging and send it off. No, that's not the idea. It's not about quantity, but it's about how well you can satisfy your customers. All right. So also let me know what kind of people are subscribed to this channel. If you are there and you are already subscribed, let me know what you do, what kind of project you have been working on. Are you working on sew to sell, or are you depending on customers to walk into your shop? They bring their fabric, you take their measurements, the kind of the classical way of the tailoring business, which is people source for fabrics themselves. They bring it to your shop and then you sew it for them. And then they have a date where they need to come back and pick it up. And when they pick it up, they try it. This was what my mom did for a very, very long time. I still remember people coming to our shop, with the fabric on their hands, and they are like, "Hey, madam, I want to sew something. I have no idea what I want." And my mom had this very big book of different designs. This was before the days of the internet, man. It's interesting. See, that's the machine cutting again. This is very, very not typical of my Yuki machine to cut thread. But this morning before I started, I did change the needle, and kind of sure that the needle positioning is not the best, but I'm still trying to just push the machine and see if it corrects itself. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying that, yes, my mom had this big book. And this big book had a lot of, designs for men, for women. This was in the days before the coming of the internet. And then designs were not so complicated because people's wishes were also not influenced by social media, unlike today. Oh man, the wishes that people have is just exceptional. People want different sleeves. People want different kinds of neck cuts. People want different kinds of shoulder cuts, skirt length, trouser length, just name it. Because of that, there's just no book right now that can actually capture all the trend in the world. And the only way you can actually get to follow trend, unfortunately, is if you are just hooked to social media. Because on social media, you can see different styles, different concepts by the minute, So I don't know how it works now because my mom stopped kind of a long time ago, but I still imagine that because she still sews occasionally, because she's retired now, she still sews occasionally, and I still feel like she will still be, the advocate of the traditional method where people walk into your shop and then tell you what they want, and then you take measurements on an individual basis, finish the cloth, and then they come to pick it up, and on the day of pickup, they still have to try it. And sometimes it could be so discouraging because you have done a very complicated work, and the customer comes around to try it out and something needs to be corrected. Sometimes you need to go back in. This is one of the reasons why most times, if it's too big, you have to make it smaller. Actually, not a problem, but there are situations where the cloth is too small and you have to make it bigger. Oh my, that is then, very, very bad. That is bad. And sometimes my mom had to go through this process not once, not twice, where somebody's fabric was, somebody's cloth, finished cloth wasn't fitting properly, and so we needed to pull down everything. So many times we needed to, replace customers' fabric just because something went wrong in the process. Oh man, these are tales of years ago. I think I'm going to also be making a series where I'm just going to be sharing the different tales that I had while, sewing with my mom, because I really sewed for a long time with my mom, and there were so many experiences. Christmas, New Year. It was before the coming of ready-made. I mean, not like ready-made wasn't trendy, but it wasn't something that a lot of people accepted. Because I was then in Nigeria, and at the time, buying clothes from a boutique wasn't something that people were really into. Of course, people could buy jeans here and there, but when you talk about traditional fabric, because when you had to go for parties, maybe funerals, birthday, and stuff like that, stuff like that, yeah, yeah. If you have to go to birthday ceremony, stuff like that, it wasn't easy to get already made fabric. So you still needed to buy your stuff, look for a local tailor. And in my community back then, we were one of the top tailors. People knew us for so many things: excellent service, speed of delivery, competitive prices. These were things that we were known for, and we did our job. We rendered the service in winter. You see, this machine is kind of cutting, and it's kind of getting on my nerves. This is not what I imagined on a day like this. Sometimes these machines, they have a way of acting this way. On a day where you have a lot to do, this is the day. Also, the thread I'm using right now, it appears the thread is almost finishing. And because of that, this thread might be hanging on the plastic spool. I don't know what you call it. The plastic, this thing. I feel like the thread is also hanging there. And sometimes, because the thread is almost done, it's just what it is. Yep. So, yeah, I've got a lot of stories to share of how we did it back in the days. I'm talking about 2002, 2003, 2004, up to 2007, because that was when I finally left home, went for military service, and I kind of had a very long break with tailoring at the time, but the experience that I got is just a lot. And I think it's good that we have a thing like YouTube. This is something I can actually share on platforms like this. Why doing projects like this? And then on my regular videos, I can just go ahead, and yeah, do what I have to do, which is tell you guys about business, how to start and stuff. Of course, in streams like this, I can also share my experience, how you starting a business, putting an offer on eBay, selling over, I don't know, 1,500 pieces of pillow covers to date, what I've gained, what I've learned, the 2 cents I can share. These are things that I am kind of willing to share with you guys, because the truth is, if I had somebody as a guide when I started this business a long time ago, I would not have made a lot of mistakes. There's a corner in my warehouse right now is full of clothes, like stuff, fabric upon fabric upon fabric. Some I bought very expensively, some I bought as a result of mistakes, some I had some I don't know if you guys know this thing we call what's it called? Red flashing light syndrome, which you are sitting, you discover something and you feel like you want to try it out, and then you go buy some fabric. You go buy some fabric, you try it, and you realize that, oh, this is not what you would love to do, or maybe, oh, the project is just too complicated. It's not something that you can actually build a business out of. And then you just leave the fabric on the side. There was a time actually thinking of starting to make, mattress covers. I bought a lot of stuff from Poland at the time, and this was one big loss. It was not like I couldn't make the mattress covers. It was just that the time it took, to make one was just a lot. And this was a time where I was really, really busy with life. It's not something, I'm not saying that it's something I will not be able to do again, because, yes, give me 1 minute. Yes, I made money doing it, but just that at the time I didn't have the right structures to replicate whenever somebody placed an order. But right now, perhaps it's something I can actually try to do again. All right. Yeah, but sometimes when I think about the fact that I've already built a lot of business, with this tailoring, with this sewing pillow covers, I don't want to begin to experiment with some new stuff right now. I don't know how the market is anymore, because this is something that I did for a very, very long time and didn't do it. We still have 2 to go, guys, and we are going to be stopping this stream. This was really, really fast, even though I was talking in between, but this I would consider to be very, very fast. All right. So, I mean, if I had somebody as a guide, telling me this do, this don't do, and stuff like that, that would have really, really helped me to avoid a lot of the losses I made. But at the time, the internet wasn't a thing, and people were not really into this. Right now, people just want to teach you what they know, which is kind of commendable. That the world, humanity has grown to the point where people just want to share what they know, but that also left a room for a lot of people to scam the next person. Somebody comes around and says to you, I'm going to teach you how to make money. I'm going to teach you how you can make a lot of money with, sewing. At the end of the day, they just sell you a course and they never ever deliver on what they promise. But even then, there are still people that it's still commendable to know that humanity has actually gotten to the point where people can actually say, look, I'm going to be your guide if you decide to want to do what I am doing. This is great. I didn't have that. Everything up to sewing this pillow cover, this method, I had to figure out myself. Every little detail. I'm not kidding you guys. It took me years, let's say 2 years. Not like I couldn't sew pillow cover and just sell them, to dial in the process to the point where I have 25 pillow covers, 25 different colors, 6 or 5 different sizes, to this point where I actually can tell you what profits you stand to make, how difficult every stage of the learning process is. That took me time. There were times I even gave up. I started from nowhere. I had no interest more because things were not just working. Sometimes I wasn't getting the right orders to keep me motivated. But then when I realized what I realized that, look, it's not about quantity. Because at the time, sometimes I was getting 50 orders a day because I was trying to play the price game where you try to compete with the Chinese sellers that have pillow covers, shipping costs, everything, all for $1. You know, I tried to play that game, and at the end of the day, it just got me burnt out. So then I realized that not everybody actually likes this cheap items. There are people that actually do desire quality. They already got burnt buying this cheap stuff from, I don't want to mention names, but you guys know some of the cheap websites out there, you know, and then they've tried it. They do not want to buy anymore anything cheap. They are willing to spend some, also not like spending a lot, but I mean, somebody giving out 10, 12, 13 euros for a pillow cover in decent quality. There are still people like that. All right. I don't want to believe that. I mean, this is what I thought, that people's budget for pillow covers now is not just more than 3 euros or 4 euros. So I was trying to align my project or my product to capture that market, until I realized that, look, it is better to play the big boys game, which is make your items a little bit more expensive, but then make sure that you are actually giving the buyers the best. This is the reason why people will stay with you, even when your price appears to be a little bit more expensive. And ever since I made that switch, I also talked about it a lot on this channel, especially when I was going through this switch. And I was going through this transition, when I was trying to transition from just selling quantity. Then I will have like 40 orders. I would just be locked into sewing. And at the end of the day, the profit wasn't really there. Then I realized that it's better to sell 10 pillow covers, you know, decent fabric like this, just 10 pieces, charge a little bit more, but get better quality customers than trying to capture the whole market. That wasn't working, and that was just a shit show. But right now, where I am, the stage I am right now is I am the quality guy. This is pretty much what I want to be known for. And when you take a look at my videos on TikTok, I have the same messaging, which is, guys, I've got something for you, something decent, something cool, something that you are going to be proud of. This is the messaging, and I hope that I can actually deliver on that. So from nowhere, the machine appears to be working in the way it should right now. I hope it stays like this, because I still have, I mean, not in this stream, in another stream, I'm going to be making 8 pink pillow covers. The same buyer actually did go ahead to buy 8 pieces of pink, I think, if I remember correctly. Also in these different sizes, 40 by 40 centimeters, you know, 40 by 60. What do you call it? 50 by 50 centimeters, 45 by 45 centimeters. I think it's for, I don't know, a housing unit or something like this. But then tomorrow I'm going to be making all that, and hopefully I'm still going to be live. So it will make a lot of sense if you can actually drop me a comment or two, so that I can address it in my live video coming up tomorrow. This is what I can actually do right now until I'm able to find time, you know, to make the conventional videos of me just talking, facing the camera. But then if you are not subscribed, this is the best time to be subscribed. I'm just going to make this to the end and then give you some closing remark, and then I can actually go ahead close the stream, take a look if there are comments that I can quickly react to, but if not, we are going to be closing the stream in less than say 5 minutes. All right, I just have one final stitch here and that will be it. I am so happy because the main thing is just sewing these pillow covers. Of course, there's still the other aspect of finishing, but that doesn't take so long like sewing this, the main sewing. I mean, the main sewing is still very easy. I mean, it's very, very easy. Like you can possibly already tell even that in less than 40 minutes, I have already made like, I don't know, 7 pieces. So you can do the math and see that it's easy. And like I said, it's the beautiful part of it is that if you decide to make pillow covers using this method, you can actually be very, very fast. That is presupposing that your machine is not going to act up. In the beginning, I had to battle with this machine like 2 or 3 times, but now everything seems to be just fine. All right, so now we have this done. The zippers have been done. One thing I like to do is I like to cut my thread just immediately. Of course, you can also do it when you are doing your finishing, but I just like to have this thing already, you know, finished before I go do the rest. All right, guys, that's the first one. That's the second one. That's the third one. That's the fourth. That's the fifth pillow cover. That's the sixth. And that's the seventh. I think that's the seventh. All right, this was all. I hope this video helps you. I'm still going to go ahead and, you know, weave the edges and then iron them up and make sure they are packed properly, still to be shipped out today or at the latest tomorrow. In this way, the buyer actually can receive it. If I ship it out today, the buyer can receive it tomorrow. But then if I ship it out tomorrow, the buyer is going to receive it next tomorrow. I hope this video helps you. If it does, please go ahead and click on the like button, subscribe to the channel. Until I see you again in the next stream, peace.